81 years old. I guess the upside here is that the president won't be talking about his birthday again until after people vote. I'm looking for an upshot. What do you think?
Well, I think the upshot is, he made a quick joke about it. He was able to get it through quickly. I mean, this is something that's going to happen, as you and I both know. Birthdays happen every year. Certainly not something he wants to be talking about right now. He dealt with it quickly. They dealt with it in the news conference earlier. There's really nothing you can do about it. But I think he's relieved that it's happening now and not 6 months from now when you're a little bit closer up in the election.
And Julie, when we go back to this NBC poll, the real issue here is the youth vote. He's really done some damage right now with these Gen Zers who actually came out, the youth, and voted for him last time around, especially because he campaigned in a big way when it came to the climate and environment.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a situation there where many have said that the president has gone too progressive. He's dealt too much with the young vote and not the moderate vote. He's smack in the middle here. Now, the question is about many of these Gen Zers who are Democrats. Are they likely to vote for a Republican? Are they likely to vote for Donald Trump? Or will they just stay home? So that's the question that he's facing right now.
Yeah, 18 to 34-year-olds, Annmarie, you put your finger on it. And a lot of them are upset about foreign policy. We can certainly talk about what's happening right now with Israel's war with Hamas. We've seen a real turnabout there with young folks, but it goes beyond that. It's student loans. It's arguably inflation, something that White House Press Secretary Curran Jean-Pierre talked about when asked about prices this Thanksgiving holiday. Here she is.
As we start preparing our Thanksgiving meals, grocery inflation is at its lowest level in over 2 years. According to the American Farm Bureau, the cost of a Thanksgiving dinner fell this year. Prices are down for turkey, stuffing, peas, cranberries, pie crust, and whipping cream. Because wages are rising, this Thanksgiving dinner is the fourth cheapest ever as a percentage of average earnings.
Okay, and I'm going to add to that because a little context, a little perspective goes a long way. The cost of a Thanksgiving dinner may be down from last year, but it's up 25% from 2019. Young people understand what that means just as well as old people.
Yeah, I guess it's a case of truth, but is it the whole truth? I mean, you can get too smart with these stats sometimes. The point is, the perception among the public seems to be that prices today are higher than they were before the pandemic, and they are fatigued and tired by that. Now, that's without getting into the political fairness of that or the accuracy of it across the board. That seems to be the perception showing up in the polls. You see this NBC poll, you see it in the University of Michigan Sentiment Index, for example. So people are tired of high prices and they are blaming the government. It's not unique to the US, it's an issue around the world. But what would be very worrying for the government, I think, is that the US economy has had a fantastic year. Couldn't be stronger, great growth in the third quarter, a jobs market that's softening but still very strong relative to where you thought it would be. Inflation is coming down from the emergency highs it was a year ago, and that message isn't cutting through. And if you consider next year, it's expected to be a slower year, without getting into arguments over a recession, a slower year, you'd have to say it's going to be an uphill battle for the administration to win the economic argument.
But the problem is, of course, Enda, is even though the data does look good, it is not what the American people feel. And Curran Jean-Pierre actually spoke about that today. She said they're not trying to change how American people feel. But in a way, she sort of is by telling them their Thanksgiving dinner is cheaper this year, but it's still a lot higher than it was 2 years ago. How do they talk about inflation? Because it doesn't seem to be resonating with the American people.
No, it doesn't, and I've seen some experts make the point that the government shouldn't be out there kind of lecturing people on the numbers behind its inflation story. They should be showing more empathy in terms of what is happening. But I think the broad point seems to be that the economy is in good condition, Annmarie. Look at the labour market, and it's true that with a strong labour market and strong wage gains, that does, of course, offset inflation. But it doesn't take into account for the fact that people have had a rough couple of years, and that's what's coming through in the polls now. And it even goes to the age issue, by the way, that you were discussing with Julie a little bit earlier on. If his age is or is not an issue, it doesn't matter. It's clearly an issue with the public. It's showing up in the polls all the time. So it sounds like this debate on the economy has gone past the government, and I think it will be very tough for them to turn it around as we head into the new year.
Julie, it's not just the age issue, not just foreign policy or inflation troubling in this poll potentially for Joe Biden. It's the hypothetical matchup. He's losing to Donald Trump here, realizing it's within the margin. There are a lot of polls. We're starting to see this consistently, even as the rhetoric, the conventional wisdom here in Washington suggests this is the one man that Joe Biden wants to face. That might be something he regrets asking for, no?
Well, I think the numbers definitely show that he is gaining strength, especially in these swing states. Now, again, conventional wisdom, as you said, have said this is the matchup that he would want. And you look at someone like a Nikki Haley, who is certainly resonating a lot with people right now. So you don't want that as your matchup. So I think in terms of what the president is thinking, he's always thought all along that this is a beatable person, especially when you look at the legalities. You look at the legalities that the former president is facing, but yet nothing has stuck there. So this is one that President Biden may want to give some thought to.